Arganissima, New York. Your exotic skin, hair, and beauty source, and your one-stop shop for all your natural and organic skin and hair care, featuring authentic organic Moroccan oil and prickly pear seed oil and much more. Bringing you only the best, straight from the source and proudly produced in the USA. So what are you waiting for? Shop today. Arganissima, New York. Your beauty is our duty.
Folks, welcome back to the Sales World channel with your host, Hurricane H. New day, new show, my favorite topic. Again, we're in the world of sales, so that's like my DNA. I got a couple of chromosomes there that actually say sales in there. But I have with me someone that's probably more expert than I've been in the sales world, and she coaches, the sales, folks, leadership, as well as, she's just basically the legit, sales guru. And so we're going to talk about, her stuff, and she's going to guide us, enlighten us about the environment of sales and how to even leverage, your skills in sales and build the business. Because I think that's that's today's age. A lot of people are wanting more to either start a business, or if they have a business, they want to thrive in their business. And you can't do well if you don't have sales. So it's all about sales. And let's be real. It's the reality of things. So without any further ado, I have Kathy Walterhouse with me. She is a sales coach expert. Kathy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. By the way, I didn't forget, she's also a fellow podcaster, and she does all that stuff. So check out her podcast as well. So Kathy, welcome, and let's take it on the road. Let's talk sales. First, basic elements, because sales is, there is some cloud around it. People are afraid of sales. We're like the most hated people, the second most hated people on the planet after lawyers, and that's what I've been told. Is that even true? I believe that it's not true, but there's a reason behind that story, right? There's a reason behind that.
Absolutely.
Quote, connotation and bad rep. So let's talk about that, and then we can dive into the real thing.
Okay. Well, one of the things you said is sales is really, really important. And I personally think the sales is what makes the world go around. I know that's a huge statement, but it really does. Because think about it. If there wasn't sales, you wouldn't know about the products that are out there, whether it's like life-saving technology or IT products, or maybe even something that you go and you buy in the grocery store. Someone in that whole chain had to sell something to eventually get it in front of you. And if there wasn't sales, guess what would happen? Businesses would implode, because, businesses are in the business not only to help, but also to make money. So yes.
Well, we did state earlier that if you're in business, you are in sales, right? And you're right. Sales is in every transaction of our lives. Personal life, I think we start selling since we were babies. Think
Absolutely.
about it. The kids are the best salespeople out there. They can get anything they want anytime, right? And they can pitch it. And so we have transactions of sales everywhere around us. And you're right. Business, there's nothing. I actually challenged people before. Name something where there's not a sales transaction. Ideas are being sold, products are sold, services are sold, and then you can't get anything beyond that. Emotions are sold.
Mm-hmm.
So how
absolutely everything.
Yeah. So
yeah, no, absolutely. I think what you said is so true. We start selling when we're really young. We just don't know it. Like when you're asking your parents, hey, can I have this, I don't know, Xbox or new pair of shoes because it's going to do X, Y, Z. And, if I get this, I will do X, Y, Z for you too. To like when you're dating, you are selling, in essence, yourself to the other person. Because if you weren't, you're just going to kind of sit there
Ain't happening.
Say nothing, maybe not smile, have no emotion, have no relationship. That wouldn't work very well, right? I mean, how many dates
No,
could you go on
yeah,
and be like that?
and none. I mean, you can't. Literally, that's not going to work.
Right. Right. Exactly. And then let's say you want to get a job.
Uh-huh.
Well, what do
Interviews.
you have to do? Whether it's not a sales job or not. Let's say you want to do I don't know, let's say you want to be in information technology, right? Well, you got to sell yourself to the hiring manager because they're not just going to look at your resume and go, "Oh yeah, you're the right person. I'm hiring you," without you saying anything, without you sending them a resume. Because when you send a resume, in essence, you're also selling there too. You're trying to connect. So you're right. I think people don't realize how much sales really impacts everyday life and how important it really is. And it's not a dirty career. It's not a dirty word. It's something that we need every single day.
Yes, and you know what? I'm a big fan of it because, to your point, there is nothing that we cannot achieve in life without a sales, exchange. I mean, again, you're right. I mean, you interview for a job, you got to pitch. You date, you got to pitch. You are talking to your parents, you got to pitch. You got to talk to your friends. You're pitching yourself every day in and out. Everybody's pitching something. If there is two people that meet, they're pitching something, an idea or ideology or something. Religious folks, lawyers are the best salespeople. I mean, they pitch. You can
That's
be
right.
bad, you can be the worst, and become
Even in court, think
in
about it.
court.
Like, let's
Exactly.
say it's a
Yeah,
criminal attorney. They're
yeah,
selling in court too.
that's right. They're
They're putting
pitching.
their case forward.
I know. Amazing. But see, yet we all are feeling the concept like, oh my God, these are salespeople. Like, I can tell you in my industry, right? Like we are always looked at that department, the sales guys, like these guys. Oh, here comes the salespeople. Oh, here comes trouble. And it's almost like a shadow that is like always with us in terms of our path. Yet we are proud of what we do. And frankly, it takes a different personality to be in sales. It's not for everyone. I mean, I'm talking sales business. I mean, yes, we
Yeah.
pitch in a regular life, but most people will say, I can't even present. That's a different level of selling, but you're presenting somehow, somewhere, just maybe not structured presentation. This is a sales pitch. This is a show. We're talking, right? We
Right.
sell information. And that's the thing. The word selling is introducing like something of transactional business. There's an exchange on it, but it doesn't necessarily mean money. It could be services, it could be ideas for
Right.
ideas, it could be
Value.
other things, exact value. And
Value,
so yeah.
feelings, like so many different things. So just to kind of dive a little bit into like, I think why the reason sometimes there's that cloud, right? And people go, oh, here comes the salesperson.
Yeah.
Because there's different types of selling, but one of the types of selling that I call the slimy selling and the spammy selling, that type of selling, which, there's even a big guru, quote unquote, out there that's what he does. Like he hammers people over the head and just really pushes people into something rather than trying to figure out, do I have something that's really of value to either this individual or this market that I can help somebody or some company and help them reach a goal, help them get rid of a problem that they're having, help them maybe move away from pain, because as humans, that's one of the big things that we do. We don't like pain. I don't know anybody that likes pain. So we're always moving away from pain, trying to go towards pleasure, trying to go towards something good. And that's what selling does. It helps you get there. And it's kind of like the big picture. So you want to stay away from the slimy. You want to stay away from the spammy. The spammy is, a lot of times there's a lot of emails that go out, or like, for example, on some of the social platforms, like even on LinkedIn, if you have a LinkedIn profile,
I
you
get a
are
lot of those
getting
emails.
spammed nonstop. And it's really easy to tell when people are spamming you because they haven't even looked at your profile and
That's
maybe you're
right.
in the same exact industry and they're going, hey, I can help you sell. And I'm
Mhm.
like, okay.
Oh, I get those all the time. I stop responding because
Me
if
too.
you want to pitch to me, first you need to know what I do and how
Right.
you can help me. To your point, value, right? It's all it's all the value. Like you talked about dating, right? It's value. Do we have a chemistry? Is this going to work? You're talking about children. It's got to be a value. Family. What? It's the same thing in business. It's all about solutions and value. It's
Hmm.
you have the right solution, you have the right value. People want it, and people are looking for something, whatever it is.
Right.
What does it mean for me? What's in it for me, as we say,
Right. It's
right?
exactly. It's like, what is it in for the customer? So it's so important that you find out everything about the customer. And, I use an example of an iceberg. So let's say you're in Alaska, right? You're on the water somewhere in Alaska
Or
and you
just
see an iceberg. You're only seeing 20% of the iceberg. 80% of that iceberg is under the water. So when you have a potential customer or even your current customer, what you're seeing from them typically is about 20%. It's what maybe you read about them or what they might have told you. And then the rest of it, it's your job to dig and find out, what is what's their needs, what's their wants. Because they're going to tell you, hey, I want something. But that's kind of like almost a mask. That's the 20%. You got to figure out why do they need it? Bottom line. And a lot of other things like their emotions and how they feel and what their goals are. And like there's just so much in there. But in addition to that, you also have to be a leader with your customers because selling is all about taking your customer's hand, whether in person or virtually, and leading them down the path. It's about painting a story of where they can be and getting them excited about it because sometimes they may not even thought about it. I know for me, like some of my greatest success that I've had is that I bring up other things that my customers never thought about. They didn't even like big clients. And I'm like, hey, have you ever thought about this market? Have you ever thought about doing this? And they're like, that's kind of interesting. Never thought about it, and then maybe bring them examples too of like other places that might be doing the same thing or similar that has worked for them. So you're taking them by the hand and literally leading them to success. Because bottom line, that's what it is, right? When you're selling, you want to lead somebody towards something that is successful. And when people that do the slimy and the spammy selling, that's not a priority for them. They want to lead you to your pocketbook so that you pay a lot of money so they can make big commission. I'm not saying you shouldn't make money in sales because you should. It should always be like a win-win, because if you're not making money, you're not going to be doing it for very long. And if the customers are winning, right? If the customer is not winning and you're the one that's winning, you're getting this big commission check, you're not going to be their salesperson for very long either. They won't be using your product.
Well, Kathy, you've touched on a lot of great stuff, and you're right. I mean, the concept is pretty basic, right? And by the way, we all consumers as well. That's the part that
Right?
when we're salespeople in general, at least you and I, we can say that we are, but the fact of the matter, we also consumers. We know what we want from our people that pitch us as well,
Right?
and
Oh,
and
absolutely. I've been in
we
that scenario.
exactly.
I've said
Like
to my husband, I need a salesperson to sell this to me. I'm ready to buy, but I need a salesperson to sell it to me.
but Kathy, that's a big piece right there. Everybody has a need and a want, and they know what they want, and sometimes they don't know why they want it, or they may not think that they need it. But that's the pitch. That's the sales skills, and I do believe that sales is an art and a science. There is a methodology. There's also a finesse to it. There's a way to do it, and the best thing you said there is that you got to get down with them in that road of the path. You got to go
Right.
with them. You got to find out that 80% of the iceberg, because and that's the best. And you know what? I hate this, the word hate is not proper, but I really dislike it to the degree where someone just comes in and starts pitching,
Oh my
like
gosh.
right
The
off the
worst
bat.
thing ever.
Yeah, it's like, like, and then, yo, slow down. I'm sorry. Take it
Hmm.
easy, right? It's like, even when I do like recruiting, right? And I interview people, I test them. And so, that the old pen, kind of sell
Oh
me the
yeah,
pen.
yeah. Sell me a pen.
I've used that for all these years before actually the movie. I didn't even know about it. It was real, but but here's the thing. I use different concepts. So if you tell me you were in pharma, let's talk about the pharma, right? If you tell me you were
Hmm.
in telecom, we're gonna talk about your old job. I don't need you to sell me the pen. But what I look for is like, are they gonna try to find out about me, or they're just gonna pitch me whatever they have? 90% of the time, I found that they just sell me whatever they already were selling. None of them like really, well, not a few of them take the time to like, well, let me ask you a few questions. Let me get to know you. And those are the ones I actually hire, because they actually take the time to see, first of all, what product they can pitch, what level, what, all the details. Because if they don't have, it's like you need the ammunition. You need to know what you're going to pitch back. Everybody knows if I'm selling phones, okay, great. But
Hmm.
the point is, there's a lot of reasons why I want to buy a phone, and which phone, right? The
Right.
question is, I need to know what is going to be used for, and so on. What kind of person are you? Are you taking notes with? Are you taking pictures? I don't know. Are you a social media guru? Whatever. I'm just giving an example. But the idea is, you want to have some of the stuff. But they come in and just start pitching. You go in and they show you all the features of a vehicle, of a book, of a car, of a TV, but they don't even know. Like, this thing doesn't fit in my room.
Right.
For example,
Right.
where are you going to put it? Is this going to be for this or for the other? Ask the right questions. And again, this is what I said about science: is want to ask the right questions, open ended, get to know more, deep dive. But some of these, to your point, spammy or like, pushy sales, they just want like, hey, I got this product. You're the customer. Here's what it is. Let's talk.
Buy my
Let
stuff.
buy my stuff. And
Right.
people read through that quickly, and then you walk out, and you'll find that they struggle more, these folks, because they're salesy. And it's funny because salespeople do not sell. Salespeople help highlight solutions. They bring the value to you. And I always train people like, I don't have to pitch you. I want
Right.
to tell you why what I have is a match for you. And by the way, it's not always a match. And you might not be my
Mhm.
customer. See,
That's one of the best things ever. Oh my
there is a
gosh.
product for
Yes.
everyone. There's someone for every product. So guess what? I gotta match those things. If those don't match, it's okay. You know how many times I've actually told my team that you gotta give up. If it's not happening, move to the next person. This is not for them. And you know what happens? You becoming honest. Those people appreciate you. Now they're gonna refer to you somebody else. You didn't lose the sale. See, sales people sometimes they tend to just want a quick sale. You're right.
Right. The
Commissions are big.
transaction.
But transaction is not one time deal. This is a long term relationship with your
Mhm.
customers. If you work with them, it's for life. And you're right. That you said it earlier. It's very simple. You'll do that, but then it's not going to be a long time. I mean, it's over. And not only it's over with them, it's over with everybody that could
With
potentially
everyone
be
that's
yours.
associated with them. Absolutely. There's
It's
a
it's amazing.
really easy solution
Yep.
that there's I have a saying, and it is sell like you would like to be sold to.
Love it.
So if you put that mindset in place, you're not going to be, hard hitting people. You're not going to be, ignoring their needs and their wants and everything about them, because you wouldn't like it if somebody did it to you, because it doesn't feel good. It feels slimy, makes you want to go take a shower, right? When you're done. And, so if you sell like you want to be sold to, everything changes. Absolutely everything changes.
It's a live rule, right? You want to do unto others as you want to be done to you, right?
Absolutely.
But it's the same thing here. And again, I love it. It's as simple as it gets. I mean, we all we just talked about it. We are consumers as well. How do you like when someone is really shoving some stuff, into you, like, this is too aggressive, like, hey, take it easy, or, I don't want that. I mean, by default, you just kind of, to your point, slime. Yeah, no, I'm moving away. This is not,
Right.
I've had people actually like, I don't want to talk to this person. Just please, really, and you just go to the next one because it's not, appealing. And you'll find the styles are different, and then you get the right person. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, we can talk about retails as basic as that, right? You go to a retail store and you get someone that as soon as you walk in, they're all over you.
Yeah.
Oh, that drives me nuts. Or you get someone's like, "Hey, how you doing? Everything's good. Let me know when you need
Right.
something." And then they're with you at all times. They're literally scanning you around the room. They're just like tracking you. And as soon as you look, it's like, I'm here, just waiting for that. But see, it's different. But the other guy or gal, they come to you and they're like reading, onto you. And you're like,
They're almost
can I,
stalking you.
yeah, can I
Yes.
just at least take a walk around and see what's up? I mean, I know what I'm looking for,
Mhm.
and when I need your help, and this is the entry level type of sales, but it goes from that. It goes. I've had pitches, in the corporate world where they come in and they like, just throwing stuff. We have this. We have this. But
Mhm.
do you know what we need? you know, and then
They
you wind
don't.
up. And by the way, if you don't have the right connection and understanding, what you wind up with is the wrong solution or the solution that doesn't work for you. You mentioned IT.
Mm-hmm.
I've had so many opportunities to get software, installations or like, acquisition. And you do these RFPs and all the stuff, and you get these demonstrations, and you get the different pitches, and you're like, whoa. And some people they're annoyed because you are asking, you're drilling and stuff, and they don't want that. I'm like, if this is not a match, you're not getting a contract. One, two is I
Right.
need this solution to work for long term, not here. Do you understand our business? That's the other thing. Sometimes they pitch it, but they don't understand what you are about. I love what you said about LinkedIn. I'm getting like thousands of emails, and they're talking about something I have nothing to do with it, or I am actually
Right.
doing similar. I'm actually your competition. That's
Right.
the worst part. So what is that? I mean, to your point, did you look at my profile to see like who I am and like what I do, what I've been
And that
doing?
would be simple enough. I mean, that is like a really simple example because how long does it take to look at somebody's profile on LinkedIn? 10
We all have
seconds.
that first. We all have that first
Right.
intro.
10 seconds. And you go, oh, yeah, this might be a good match. I might be able to help that person. Or no, I don't think I can help them. They're a completely different market or whatever it might be. Yeah, exactly.
So Kathy, you were named top 20 business coach to look out for in Disruptor magazine. That's pretty huge. I mean, yeah, it's a big deal. Let's talk about your disruptions. Because
I
I
like
know
to
you.
disrupt.
Yeah, listen, that's okay. Well, that's what we are made for, right? We can make an impact, and you talked about leadership. That's part of it. Typically, salespeople are leaders by default. I mean, not all, but there is a leadership, aptitude, something that makes you like you want to do things. Most people are not gonna. They stay behind. They just want to easy way. Salespeople are always forward. They're the front line and everything, right?
Hmm.
But you have sold close to $1 billion.
I
So
have.
that's a lot of digits.
It is a
you know,
lot of digits. It's a lot of selling.
I know. So let's talk
Definitely
about
a
that.
lot of selling. But I think so. First off, I'm known as the professional rule breaker. So that in itself should tell you a little bit about me.
I love that.
Yeah, and I think, gosh, I can just even be and when I say the professional rule breaker, a lot of times people go, "Oh my gosh, she breaks laws or whatever." No, it has nothing to do with that. It is about thinking about what can I do different than the status quo? What can I do better, different? How can I push the boundaries? What else is out there? I also ask a lot this particular question. Why? And I have to say that is kind of the magic question for salespeople, because when you are talking to your customers or potential customers, they'll tell you something. A good question to ask is why? Why do you do it that way? Or, just trying to dig a little bit more. And, I think being a rule breaker, it opens up possibilities. You have to think about rule breaking as almost as innovation. And there's a lot of, I stand on the shoulders of like great innovators out there, right? If you think about people that were rule breakers or are rule breakers, there's Edison, right? Who came up with what? Electricity and all those things, right? He was a rule breaker. Who on earth would have thought of that at that time? No one. He was thinking outside the box.
Even if someone did, they just didn't do anything about it.
They didn't do it. And that's another thing about being a really good salesperson and also being a rule breaker. But just think about the other one, Richard Branson, Virgin Atlantic, Elon Musk, he wants to go to Mars. There's just so many, people before us. And those are the ones, that kind of like lay the path for other people to think outside the box. I think Steve Jobs is one of my favorite quotes. He has a quote that says, the ones that do are the ones that are crazy enough. Oh, I don't have the whole thing, like crazy enough to always, to think outside the box. And obviously Steve Jobs, great example, right? Same thing. iPhone, all the Mac technology, then he did Pixar. I mean, who would have thought animation could be automated? Way back when animation was all hand drawn, he automated Pixar. So just think about that. So if you look at rule breaking as something good and you're pushing the boundaries and you're constantly doing that, it almost becomes your new normal. It gives you a chance to, think outside the box and maybe be a little more fearless and taking chances, trying something new, being okay with failure. Because what is failure? Failure is, it's a lesson, right? You learn. It's a gift trying to teach you something, right? And I think the best salespeople out there and the best business people out there, they're not afraid to fail.
Again, the salesmanship begins when the customer says no. That's literally rule number one in sales. I mean, you have to talk to it's a number game, right? You talk to people. Of course, there's an art to it and a science, and then you can crunch that. Instead of talking 10,000 times, you can talk less and less, and then just, get more results. But the idea is that it comes with the territory. You want to pitch, it's a 50-50 shot, right? You want to maybe go to 75, 100% shot. Why not? I mean, that's what you aim for. But you're right. It's like, if you're not able to be accepting the concept of I might get rejected, and that's actually coming with the territory. Again, rejection is a big deal. In most of the people don't like to be rejected.
Right. Nobody does. I don't know anybody that likes to be rejected.
But we absorb it, right? We have thick skin, as I said. We kind of, okay.
Well, there's that saying in sales, every no you get closer to a yes. That is true. But I think a lot of it is you just learn how to be a better salesperson, and you realize, you have to really approach your market, whatever your niche is, and know everything about it and everything about your customer. So then the no's become less frequent because you're in the right space.
It's exactly right. I mean, you're talking about understanding your game, understanding your customers, understanding your market, because you got to become a true expert of whatever you do. Otherwise, you're just one of too many, and you're going to fail, because at the first questions, some customers are going to drill you.
Oh, yeah.
And
they'll test you.
And if you
For sure.
if you don't have the right knowledge, it's going to be so easily, obvious that they're just, okay, well, we'll think about it. Bye-bye.
Actually, those are my favorite customers of all.
Oh yeah, but because they're going to make a decision, they want to know, and they open up to you, and then you just because you know that you master your art. That's the difference. Now, if you're newbie, you don't know your stuff, and they throw in a couple of, swings at you, you'd be like, yeah, and so that's it. It's over. It's a done deal, right? That perception.
But even if let's say they throw a couple swings at you, and you're kind of like, oh, I don't know what to say.
The research come back.
Still not a death sentence.
I know.
It's not.
But that's because you're expert.
Well, because you can just say, I don't know. I can't give you the answer, but I'm going to find out, and I'm going to get back to you. And then 100% of the time, I should say 10,000% of the time, you need to find the answer. And even if you can't find the answer, you still need to get back with that customer. That's actually one of my biggest pet peeves about salespeople is they'll say, yeah, I'll send you that, or I'll whatever.
No follow-up.
And then they don't. And then they give everybody a bad name.
It's annoying. But you're right. I love that. I mean, and it's a technique that works 103 million gazillion time.
Mhm.
It's we are the I know that I'm an expert at what I do. I know that in my field, that's like it's in the genes, it's in the DNA, it's in the blood, it's in my breathing. However, doesn't mean I know everything because things change every day.
Right.
And you can't always, I mean, even the best doctors, they have to maintain. We have to have CEs, we have to do stuff. You have to upgrade every day. And so you got to get with the program, with the technology, and with the times.
You always need to be learning.
Exactly. So
Always
we learn
learning.
every day.
Right.
And sometimes you get something like, wow, no one ever asked that question before. I'd never thought about that. But that's great. Let me actually go and learn. And I actually tell this to my teams all the time is that, when I first started management, literally, I was sometimes at some meetings, I had no clue. And some of the discussion, I was like, what the hell they're talking about? And but here's what I did. I literally I just wait for that meeting to get out, and I just go and I just get back into that topic. I drill down. The next day, I'm an expert in that topic. That
Mhm.
discussion is never going to be a problem for me. And so you learn. You gotta manage it, and it's okay because we're not, an encyclopedia. You don't have everything. You can't possibly have it all, but you can absorb more. And so you do the research and you learn. And by the way, those to your point, those are great customers because they want to learn why they want your product or service.
Right.
And guess what? If I can't help them 100% today, doesn't mean it's over. That's the other thing. People want that quick sale today. I want to
Mhm.
close today. Listen, there's
But that's a
nothing.
transaction. Again,
Exactly.
you're looking for a transaction.
You got to
That's not
close.
a long-term especially if you're doing a high ticket,
Mhm.
you can't do a transactional sale. You can't approach it that way. You have to really dig and build a relationship and lead the customer. There's like so much that you need to do. And it doesn't matter if you're a newbie or you've been in it for a while. There is, I think, an honesty about sales that people like. Like, again, if you don't know something, tell them you don't know, but you're going to get back to them. Because the minute there's that saying, fake it till you make it. If you do that in sales, you're dead in the water.
Reputation is bad that way, and then it's over.
Right?
Nobody's going to talk to you, and it will take. And by the way, people can read through that very easily. If you're aggressive, if you're, you're doing like scare tactics or like some of these, pressure tactics that sometimes people, oh, if you don't do this, we're running our sales and blah, blah, blah. And
Right.
you're not going to, people sometimes are not going to get that, they don't want that. And if that's the other thing, if you sell them something wrong, buyer's remorse, couple of days, they're going to
Oh my
term the
gosh.
contract and you're not
Right?
making money anyway. So what's the point? So you want
And
that.
the negativity that's going to come out of that is really, really bad. I mean, you have to think about that. These people know other people. So if you are either not telling the truth or you're hammering them or you're doing something they really don't like, guess what? They're going to go tell a bunch of people. Versus if you do all the right things and whether you can help them or you can't help them, guess what they're going to do there? They're going to refer business to you. And there is nothing better than getting a sales lead that is a referral because that person is so much closer to buying.
Pre-sold.
Right? Exactly. I mean, they're ready to go. They're really ready to go.
It's amazing, but sometimes people are so narrow-minded in terms of they want that quick sale versus like the longevity of your network.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing, what to your point, it's easier instead of you prospecting all the time finding new clients. Once you have a good base and those trust you, like for example, you want a lawyer, I'm going to give you my lawyer because I know my lawyer is going to be trustworthy. You want a CPA, I got my great CPA.
Right.
This is it. And when I give you that one, I'm giving you a good recommendation. This gal is going to be
stamp
the
of
best.
approval.
Yeah, it's done, and you're going to take it from me because I'm not going to give you fluff, right? And that's it. So the opportunity is endless for you if you do it right the first time. And but again, there are people that just want that quick thing. They don't think long term, and they eventually collapse quickly, and they don't make it long. And sales is something that can burn you quickly if you don't have the right system in place, and eventually you just give up, and you can't do it
get
because
burn out,
and you're not going to make enough money. And to your point, it's over. And I've seen that, for example, in real estate sales.
Mm.
I've taught even real estate sales, and I've done some sales trainings to thousands of agents in New York, and I can tell you the not all of them stay in the business
Right.
because they just don't know how to maintain that, the long term stuff, and it's a lot of work. The good ones, they're in it for life and they make some serious money out of it, but some don't. Insurance sales is the same thing. Not everybody makes it for the long term. And 5 years is a long time in sales. 10 years. I mean,
It is.
I tell
It,
people I'm
well,
prehistoric.
but it is and it isn't. Like if you love what you're doing or
Yes.
you love your customers, oh my gosh, it goes by so quickly. But if you don't have the right mentality, or maybe you don't believe in your product,
That's a killer.
that is, and you're just doing it because of the money, you are going to get burnt out because there's like an inauthenticity that every day when you go to work, you're like, oh, do I have to do this? Do I have to go see customers? Do I have to talk about this? You're not having fun. I always say, if you're not having fun, why do it?
But that's rule number one.
Right?
You gotta have fun. But
Yeah.
Kathy, so you talked about something that is important: the ability to love your stuff, but also
Yes.
believe in the products. Because here's the thing:
Mm-hmm.
if I don't even like, someone can ask you like, "Did you ever use this?" And if you say that, well, I never tried it. I mean, that's one. And if you're not even believing in stuff, your pitch is not going to be as strong. Imagine, because the passion is not going to be there. If you really
Yep.
believe in the stuff, you're going to pitch it with all your heart and soul and your passion. It's going to be energetic. People are going to see it
Mm-hmm.
and you mean it. As opposed to like, yeah, so it's great. It's going to work for you. It's going to be like, and you can tell it's shallow. It's like light stuff. And you just avoiding every single deep dive into the matter. And then therefore it's over. So, Kathy, you got different types of selling.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about those types of selling, that you have experienced.
Okay. Well, I mean, part of it is we've talked about a little bit of it because I say that there's definitely different types of selling. There is the slimy selling,
Okay.
the cousin of spammy selling. There's the scared selling that, especially a lot of people that are new in business or in sales. And when you're in business, like what you said, you have to sell. No matter what, you have to sell. And they're scared to death. Or like, for example, like a new real estate agent, they might be scared to sell a customer, right? They might be scared to pitch a customer. But I can tell you a really simple solution to that as well. What I call, flip the script. You focus on the customer, because the minute you focus on the customer, all the nerves, all the, oh my gosh, I can't do this, that type of stuff. If you really believe in what it is that you're doing and you focus on the customer, that vanishes. I'm not going to say that you're never going to get nervous, but that level of like that scared panic selling, which you can see it. You can see it when somebody meets with you. You can see it when somebody is on Zoom. You can see it in webinars. Like they come to the end and then they're like, okay, it's going to cost you $597, and the way they say it and they present it, they're kind of like, they couldn't wait to get that out of their mouth.
That's a big deal. The fear of like, breaking the numbers to people. It's like,
Yes.
because most people are like, what is it going to cost me? What is it going to cost me? And most of the people are like trying to
Right,
avoid
right.
that until to the end. And then they have a reluctance of like asking for the sale, asking for the money. It shouldn't be. If you can do a good pitch throughout the process, that will be easy. People will see the value. They will see what
Right.
they invest in it.
Right. Right. So yeah, it's they see the value, they see that you care about them, and that whether it's virtual or in person, when you start caring about your customer, there's almost an inherent relationship that starts. And so that's really important, as well. And then the best type of selling is something I call noble selling. So what is noble selling? So noble selling, and just think of the word, what does noble really mean? It means, you're doing sales in which you want to help someone. You want to lead them to success. You want to focus on the customer. And when you do all of that, you see selling as a noble art. It really is. Because bottom line, you're helping people. You're being the, if I may say, the Mother Teresa of service for your customer because you're trying to help them.
Well, that's the ultimate goal, right? I mean, if you
Right.
can get to that level, that's like the highest level of being in the sales industry, in the sales world, because
Right.
you are making money while you are making a difference every day. That's like having that nice, I am making a difference in lives day in, day out. And then as I do that with others, I feel good about myself and I'm happy. And but there's no shame in the game. We're making money. Everybody's making money somehow.
Right.
And so, but I'm making, I make a joke about it. It's like people talk BS all the time. Salespeople can actually talk and make money out of it. They just have to do it right.
That's
You
right.
no BS, but just all the good stuff. You get rid of all that. Now, sales is known as the word sales, but you break it down into an acronym.
Oh, yes, I do. It's so the first one is SALES, right? So S is a switch your mindset. So you got to have the right mindset when you're selling. Not, you can't be afraid. You can't think you can't do it. It's all the imposter syndrome and all that. It's the mindset of selling. But again, if you start focusing on the customer, things change for you. The A is an about face. About face basically means focus on your customer. Stop thinking about yourself. Do an about face. Focus on your customer. L is love your product. Because if you don't love your product, you're not selling the right thing. You need to change. You need to sell something different. E is about empathy. It's about really understanding your customer and how they're feeling and where they want to go. And then S is kind of like a double thing. It's strategy, but it's also the story that you tell. Remember what I said about if you're a really good salesperson, you need to be a leader. So you're telling a story. You're taking the customer by the hand and leading them towards success. So that's how I kind of break it down. So if you struggle in sales, look at any one of those letters and start thinking, okay, today, let's say you're having a really bad day, and everybody has the bad days, myself included. But let's say S, okay, switch your mindset. If I'm like not in the right mood or I'm having this head trash going on or whatever it is, you got to switch your mindset, because the last thing you want to do is have that mindset and then go in front of the customer, because that is not going to end well, no matter what you do. Yeah. And then, the about face. Okay. If you're focusing on yourself, or if you don't, know your customer, okay, you need to do some research. And, sometimes people say, well, I have a virtual business. How do I do that? Well, you probably have some friends or family members that potentially could be your client. So you can go and do like a focus group on them. The same thing. You can join, there's like Facebook groups. There's all sorts of LinkedIn groups. There's like, meetups. That if you want to do something in person, Chamber of Commerce, they always have things going on. You can go to those and you can ask questions. So that way you learn about your potential customer. I think L, kind of self-explanatory about loving your product. And sometimes maybe you might fall out of love with your product because you've been struggling. Or, if you are part of a sales team, maybe you have a new boss or something like that, and that boss is not very nice or not very supportive. Again, you got to reframe everything, and look at that. Like, what is it? What was that one thing? Let's say you work for somebody. What was that one thing that when you decided you wanted to work for them, that spark, it made you go, oh yeah, I want to sell that. I want to represent that. Or if you're in business, what's that spark? What's that thing going? Oh my gosh, there are so many people out there that need my help, a lot of entrepreneurs and high growth companies. I know my sales technique can help them because for me, I'll just tell you what my spark was. I had some friends that were in business, and this was before I had started working, coaching people, and I saw them losing their shirt, and I saw them losing their business, and I knew that I could help them. And so that kind of was the spark that got me going, because I was able to help them and they were able to keep their business. So what is that spark for you so that you can fall back in love with what it is you do? The E, the empathy, my gosh, you have to have that empathy. You have to feel it in your soul. You have to feel what your customer is feeling. I think about, there were times, because a lot of my selling is, I did a lot of medical. And sometimes I would get these calls, and depending on what it was that I was selling, and I'd get these calls saying, I have a patient that's dying and they need your stuff. They need that equipment. They need that life-saving drug. I had it happen more than once, and I found myself, jumping through hoops on my side with my company, as well as whatever I needed to do to help them. And I found myself actually praying for these people. So when you get that feeling, like I can feel it, like even now, like I have almost like it's making me tear up a little bit. When you get that feeling that you know that you make such a big difference in the world, it, like, here, you hear my voice. It makes a big difference in the world. What it is that you're doing, that means that you really love what it is. And you're so proud of it. And you know that you can, in my case, save people's lives. And then the S, the story. What's the story that you're telling? What is the story that you're telling your customers? You have to become the industry leader. You have to be so knowledgeable, and you have to be so knowledgeable about them that you kind of know what they need. So what's the story that you're telling them to lead them down that path to get them there?
That's a whole, we can spend a whole week on that, breaking it down on trainings, to get people really into this. Well, I mean, it's a lot of core stuff. This is like really the deep, sales world. I mean, it's not just to your point transactions. It's really, there's more to this. There's human factors. There's the feeling that you had. I mean, right now you're talking about something that you've done a long time ago, and you still feel that emotion about it, because you're right. It's something that we can make lives, or sometimes destroy lives, if we did the wrong thing.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
In my world, in the insurance space, especially, like we help people just stay healthier. And, maybe someone can say, well, you guys are the insurance guys. You're the bad guys. Yeah, we're in a different space of insurance. It's not commercial insurance. This is where actually we really manage people's care, and then these people need it, especially the senior market. And every time, how many times I've had people that come to our reps will give us testimonials. Myself, when I was actually still, repping, and people will tell me, like, you've saved my life. You've saved my husband's life. Thank you so much for what you did for my parents. Those are like feelings that are unbelievable. They stay with you all life. And those are good things, because that you've helped people. And I love what you said, that you go through hoops and loops to actually make it happen. I've had to sometimes fight the currents to get something approved, instantly, or even pay up front for things, and then get reimbursed later because they could not get to the service immediately. And for that person, that moment is like, that was a life and death situation that you just kind of like made a difference for. And that is, so it's not selling here, it's really serving. And that's a whole different concept, and I think that's, again, talking about noble level, you get to that level, it's different. And if everyone that is in the sales profession And outside of it, I mean, customer service, we're all the same pretty much. We do a lot of that. But if you'd really direct sales or you're really into that, your impact is humongous, and you need to know what that is, and you got to find it and be able to get that feeling.
Absolutely.
And if you don't, yeah.
There's a ripple effect in sales.
Yes.
There's definitely, so, those people, that I helped, who they have no idea. They don't know who I am. They have never heard of me. They don't even know I was involved in potentially saving their life. But think about it. So they're still living. Who have they affected, right? Maybe their son or their daughter could be the next president. Or maybe they're doing something really well. Maybe because they had this life and death experience, they want to change the world. They want to do something. They want to affect their family in a positive way. They want to affect others in a positive way. You just don't know. It's literally like throwing a rock into a lake and you see the ripples. That's what selling really is. True selling. Not the I'm hitting you over the head with the hammer and you got to buy this, just buy my stuff. No.
Listen, I mean, we're talking some real core stuff here. Like, this is the heavy sales, concepts. This is not, to your point, this is not the pitch, the light stuff. This is, you want to learn the best, the best. This is how it is. This is what it means to be in sales. And I love the way you break it down, and also like the making the difference, the ripple effect. All these things are key. I know I would love to actually spend more time. We're coming out to crunch time here, but pressure. Sometimes salespeople feel pressure easily. And what would you tell them just to like, what advice would you give them to not be feeling the pressure?
That's a really good question. And somebody in insurance actually told me this, that salespeople have the highest percentage of being on anxiety drugs, which I was like, what? When they said that. And I get that, because it is, there is a lot of pressure with selling. Because commerce is driven by that, right? If you're working for a company, you have quotas. There's numbers you got to meet. And so there is a lot of pressure with that. But what I would say, because I've led sales teams as well, is, take every day, just take it moment by moment. And I think that works for everybody. It's not even just salespeople, because I think if you look at the really big picture and you go, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to get to my quota, or, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to sell stuff today. And you look at that big picture, that gives me, even just saying that gives me anxiety. You got to break it down in small little steps. So it's like, and this is what I tell my clients, especially when they're having a bad day. What is that one thing that you can do to move your business forward? Just that one thing. And let's say they do it, right? And then, okay, so what's another thing that you can do to move the business forward? Same thing. You're really stressed because you can't meet you're scared about your quota, because, for the folks who are out there that may not know, when you're in sales, you literally have a quota, like you have a yearly quota, you have a monthly quota. At the end of the month, you're done. The beginning, like June 1st or May 1st,
as good as
whatever the day
yesterday's.
is, it starts all over again. And you're just as good as what your numbers are currently. Doesn't matter if you've been number one forever. Doesn't matter. You're just as good as what your numbers are. So you got to break it down. You can look at, okay, I have to sell $1 million. Well, what's 1 million divided by, 20 business days, and start just breaking it down into pieces, because the more you break things down into pieces, the less stress that you're going to have. And I would also say, just focus, your focus is really important. Focus on the customer. If you're always focusing on the customer, when you're having a bad month, that customer that loves you, you can call them up and you can go, hey, I need a favor. who can you recommend? You know, you can even say, I'm short on my numbers this month. Who could you recommend that I could talk to? Is there anybody you could recommend? And can you make that introduction for me? Well, listen, if you've been really good to that person, they're going to be like, oh yeah, I have, this person, this person, this person, and they're the head of this. Oh, you should definitely need to talk to them because you can help them anyway. So it would be really great if you talk to them. So again, always focus on your customer, because bottom line, your customer is going to end up helping you in some shape or form.
I love it, Kathy. Listen, we're really at the top of the hour here. I know you got to go, but yeah, again, help others, help yourself, basically, right? And I love what you said about pressure. It's one day at a time, one target at a time. The numbers are going to add up eventually, and if you do it right, you wouldn't even worry about it. You wake up in the morning. How many I'm going to do today? How many people I'm going to help today? That's how I actually train people, and you will wind up helping people more than you think. I love what you said about reaching out to people. That's, again, if you did the right thing the first time, you have that foundation, you have that referral hotline, you just press the button and you go. So those are all great. I think we're going to have to bring you back here. We're going to have to do this again and go to the business part of it, because we haven't even got into that one as much. But Kathy, I know you got to go. Any last word for our guests, for our audiences right now?
Absolutely. So I would say for everybody that's out there, just know that you're really unique and you have something really special to offer. And don't try to hide that, because the more you are authentic with your customers, the more they're going to love you. So just be yourself and just know you can make a difference in the world.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, Kathy, thank you so much for being with us and for all your insights. You just got me pumped right now. So
thanks, Hurricane, for having me.
My pleasure. And so, yeah, we'll stay in touch. And I know you got to go, but folks, I hope that this session, was really amazingly, full of great stuff that you can apply in real life. And by the way, sales or no sales, a lot of this stuff can apply to almost everybody's life. So we'll be talking soon. New day, new show, new topic. I'm Hurricane H. Talk soon. Bye-bye.